Hey guys, I want to talk today about why a wealth tax is spectacularly bad policy. We often hear statements like the top 1% holds 15 times more wealth than the bottom 50% combined, you know. And when we hear things like that, it may seem intuitive sometimes that, a wealth tax makes sense. Some people simply hold so much wealth. But what is wealth? What does it mean to hold wealth? In my experience, people think of wealth as income, as money in the bank, as money that is somehow unavailable on request. And it seems that this is how our politicians think. In Canada, the Liberal government is proposing a one time wealth tax of 3% and 5% on the fortunes of people who have at least 10 million or 20 million in net worth, respectively. The NDP is proposing an annual tax of 1% on families with fortunes of over 20 million. In the US, Bernie Sanders is proposing a wealth tax of up to 8%, while Elizabeth Warren wants a wealth tax of 3%. But that's the question, what's wealth? Wealth is not income. Wealth is not revenue. Wealth is not profit. The best way to define wealth is as an estimation of future value. Wealth is not about the present. It's about making an educated guess about what something will be worth, down the line in the future. Um, Wealth is really about what people are willing to pay right now because they envision that down the line it will be worth more and they will make a profit. You can think of a house. A house is the simplest example that comes to mind. When people buy houses for to make profit as they're in real estate, what they're doing is they're looking at the house and thinking, what is a reasonable price to pay now? Uh, that gives me a reasonable guarantee that 5 years, 10 years down the line, if I sold the house, I'll make a profit. Uh, Understanding this fact that wealth is about the future, not about the present, is important in understanding why certain companies today are thought to be more valuable than many companies that have existed for so long, that have been established, that have a lot of assets and have a lot of property. For instance, Tesla is more valuable than the top six car companies combined, including Toyota, Volkswagen, General Motors, and the likes. Uh, it's very easy to see that these other companies have existed much longer than Tesla. They've sold more cars than Tesla. They probably make more income on their balance sheet every year than Tesla. Uh, they've made a lot more profit. Tesla only started making profit recently. But how come that Tesla is more valuable than these companies combined? It's simple. People are willing to pay large sums of money, greater than $100 billion today for Tesla, because they can see and they make an educated guess that electric cars are the future. They are not paying for Tesla because of how much it makes today. They are paying for Tesla because they believe that in the future Tesla will dominate the market. Tesla will make a lot of money. Tesla will be the kind of cars that everyone is driving. So it's an anticipation about the future. It's one of my favorite companies I love right now is Lemonade. Lemonade is an insurance company that uses artificial intelligence to make the process of buying insurance smoother. There are lots of established insurance companies out there, but at the last estimation, I think Lemonade was about $64 billion. That's what the value of Lemonade is. The reason Lemonade is so valuable is not because Lemonade has made a lot of profit. Again, it's not because Lemonade already dominates the market. The reason Lemonade is valuable is because people estimate that in the future, the use of artificial intelligence would cause Lemonade to outstrip the already established people, the already established companies that exist in the market. So they are making an educated guess about the future of the company, and so they are willing to pay a high price for the company now. I can give you a lot more examples, but I think I'll stop with Uber. Uber has never made a profit. Yet Uber is worth $85.6 billion. Uber has never made a profit, but people are willing to pay a high premium to own the Uber company today, because again, they can reasonably see that the way that the trajectory that Uber is on very soon is going to be the only game in town. It's going to be the only way to move around when you have as a taxi. And so they're willing to pay a high premium for it now. So again, wealth is not about the present. It's not about what's actually out there in the present. Wealth is about potential. Wealth is a mental estimation of the potential of an asset to grow tomorrow. And so what you see there is that innovative companies, companies that are at the cutting edge of innovation tend to be more valuable. They tend to be more valuable than long-established companies who have made a lot of money, who have been in the market for long, who have great balance sheets and everything. People are projecting and believing that this innovation, once completely implemented, will lead to success. A thing can be valuable, a company can be valuable, even if they have not yet implemented the full breadth of their vision and of their innovation. And that's the best way to understand wealth. Therefore, a wealth tax is a tax on innovation. Because to tax wealth is to tax that future potential of a company now. A company that has been there for a long time, that has failed to innovate, and as such is not as valuable in the minds of people, would pay less taxes than a company that has just come up, who has not made any money, who has not implemented their vision yet, but somehow, because people can see the trajectories on, they are willing to pay a lot of money for it now. That company will somehow now have to pay a lot more taxes before it even reaches the point where it's generating profit. And so that potential that a business has that causes people to believe in it, the government will tax the company based on that potential. And it's easy to see how that tax is detrimental, because it reduces the possibility that the potential will actually become actualized. So a wealth tax would reward the establishment and make class mobility difficult. If your goal is to redistribute wealth, if your goal is to make class mobility a possibility, then you shouldn't be trying to take away the resources of those people who are innovating and are trying to make something new and change the world in that way. A lot of people will think about the example I gave earlier about houses and how we make estimations on how much a house will be in future, and they'll think that we pay property taxes on houses, and so it makes sense to pay property taxes or wealth taxes on other assets. And I think that although that I oppose a property tax, I think that a property tax is different in the sense that it's using a resource that does not truly belong to anyone. The land does not really belong to anyone. It was there before we were born. It'll be there after we go, and so it sort of belongs to the commune. And there is an intuitive sense in which one can argue that people should pay rent to use the land. And that's intuitive and that makes sense sometimes. But this is different from other kinds of innovation where you're not using necessarily something that belongs to everyone, but you're innovating and creating new technology. And as a result of creating that new technology, you already have value. So a wealth tax then is taxing a person or a company not because of anything that they have implemented or created, but immediately a person has an idea or a product of an innovative nature. A wealth tax says, that project, it's going to make a lot of money in future, so you owe the government money right now. And such a policy would force the innovator to sell what he owns in order to meet the government's burden. I think that rather than houses, the best analogy for a wealth tax is a painting. A painting. I know that it's hard for a lot of people to connect the dots for this analogy, but I think it's the perfect analogy. There are lots of painters whose work is worth millions of dollars. If I'm a great painter, perhaps I'm as great as Leonardo da Vinci. My work could be worth millions of dollars. And if I paint a picture and I have not sold the picture yet, I have the picture on top of my fridge or have it in my basement, that picture can be worth $5 million even if I have not sold it yet. And so that is a way to think about wealth. I have not sold it yet, I have not made any profit, yet it is worth something, and that is part of my net worth. When I sell it and I make profit, that is something that it makes sense to tax. But to simply say that by virtue of creating this product, the government should tax me, is one that I think that when we use the analogy of a painting, a lot of people can see the problem there. So this is the primary reason why I think that a wealth tax is spectacularly bad policy. Thanks.